can he sing?
Wow, what a way to start the show. Welcome to 2 hours, no traffic, a New York, Philadelphia sports show. We are your hosts. I'm Spen Harris. He's Philly Brandon. And listen, the Eagles aren't only winning on the football field right now.
No, the boys can sing. Jordan Mailata's got some pipes on him for sure. What many people don't know, I didn't know until I saw that. He was on The Masked Singer last season. So he knew he could sing. Yeah, I didn't know that either.
Wow.
Jason Kelce, not as much, but dude can still sing pretty good. Got like a Bing Crosby kind of, baritone jazz vibe to him.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like that was, when your buddy shows you a restaurant, right? And he's like, oh, like try out this food. And you try it and you're like, this is pretty good. And then your other buddy takes you to like the greatest restaurant that you've ever been to, where like you just start, oh my God, like this blows the other spot out of the water.
Yeah. Yeah.
What is it with football players and singing, man? Like you had the 85 Bears, you had the Miami Hurricanes from the early 2000s. What was the name of the crew? You remember?
No, but it was I think it was like four. It was four of them, wasn't it?
I think it was Seventh Floor Crew. I think that might have been it. Look that up for me. It was Greg Olson, John Beeson. They were the headliners. Nevertheless, the Eagles, Jordan Mailata, Jason Kelce. Is that how you say his last name?
Yeah.
Is it going to be the whole offensive line on the Christmas album or just those two guys?
No, so it's actually interesting. I was watching there's a great video of it on the Instagram page called A Philly Christmas. But basically what happened was they were just kind of screwing around. And like they do that anyway. Like Jason Kelce, Jordan Mailata, Lane Johnson just kind of burst into song in the locker room sometimes. And they got a hold of Connor Barwin, former Eagle in the offseason. And Connor knows a producer from Philly. He was like, look, I can facilitate this if you guys want to do it for real, like the real thing. And, all those three guys were in. Other Eagles make appearances, like Brandon Graham pops in, Jalen Hurts pops in, A.J. Brown pops in. Not on songs, kind of like on like those Spotify interlude, interview kind of things. But they knocked that whole thing out in the offseason. They've just been kind of sitting on the footage. And we're going to get a new song every Friday until Christmas at this point.
I'll tell you this. Obviously, I'm not an Eagles fan. I'm a New York Giants fan, and I hate the Philadelphia Eagles. But having said that, a team that's as successful as they've been this year, it's nice to see that they have that personality, right? We remember those Patriots teams that used to start the season 9-0, 10-0, even those Colts teams with Peyton Manning. They were so bland. They were so
military.
Yeah, man, just like super, I don't know. There was nothing to them. And I like what the Eagles are doing. I like the swag. You've seen Jalen Hurts talking a lot, doing his media stuff, basically saying like, I knew what we were capable of. I don't want to listen to the doubters the last few years. I give this team a lot of respect. They have swag and they're winning football games.
Yeah, and it's actually brings me to a funny story because my girlfriend's dad is a diehard Giants fan too. And I was like, look, this exists outside of football. Like you can't tell me you don't see these three like just big boys, getting together in the studio, knocking back. Like, they're drinking on set. Like, they're just having a good time. And like, look, this exists outside of football. Like, you can hate the Eagles. Like, I get that. But this is kind of cool. It's just kind of like, let the boys play. Like, let guys be dudes or whatever. Like, if the Giants were doing something like this, I don't quite know if they have the personalities at the moment to pull something like that off. But, like, I could respect this similar move from about any franchise. Like Travis Kelce, for instance, he and Jason Kelce have a great sports podcast, arguably better than ours. It's a close race. But I love Travis Kelce. He's not an Eagle. We're going to have to go through him at some point. But outside of football, like the dude's hilarious.
You mean like in the Super Bowl you're going to have to go through him?
Oh, yeah. It's a collision course, baby.
Jeez, buddy. Get there first. Come on. Act like you've been there before. My God.
We have been there before.
Yeah, I get that, but that was a shock to everybody. I don't know. We'll see. Look, you guys are the front runner in the NFC right now. I don't know if there's another team that can really compete with you guys. You look at the rest of the NFC.
Who's dominant? I don't think it's us. I don't think we've been dominant lately. The offense looks great, but we've been up and down. But there's not that team in the NFL this year that's like oh, you got to get through them. Like, I keep hearing the 49ers, yeah, a little bit. Buffalo, up and down. Josh Allen's for sure hurt. Casey's at the same team. Like, there's nobody I look at where it's like, man, getting past them is going to be a real struggle. Maybe Dallas.
Let me tell you this. No, fuck Dallas. Dallas is not – they're not it. Imagine you guys get to the Super Bowl and the Miami Dolphins with Tua Tagovailoa as quarterback. The Dolphins have been really good this year. One can make a case they're the best team in the AFC. They're right up there with the Chiefs. They're right up there with the Bills. They've beaten the Bills. If you had a Tua versus Jalen Hurts match in the Super Bowl, how incredible that would be. Two Alabama guys, one took the other's job.
Yeah. I would put everything I own on her. There's no, like, him being him as a person, like Carson Wentz and Ben Simmons they would let, they'd let Tua run all over him. There's no way who Jalen Hurts is as a person. He doesn't throw for 500 that day. Like, there's just no way.
Real quickly, not to get off topic, but I've been seeing a lot of Mike McDaniel videos on TikTok and Instagram and Twitter. I just wanted your thoughts on the Miami Dolphins head coach.
I want to like him. Like, I really do. The stuff he says, like, on the TikTok videos and stuff, I really want to like him. I feel like it only works because he's winning. If the Miami Dolphins aren't good, he's the most cringy coach in the NFL.
Bro, he's a cornball. He is a corny-ass mother flipper. Corn, it's got the juice. That is Mike McDaniel.
He's got this, like, it's hard to put into words. Like, the players like him, and like everyone else likes him. I don't know why I want to. I can't. It doesn't. He doesn't have that football guy thing to him. He has very, like, Billy Bean, Moneyball, never, kind of detached. I like my head coaches yelling at the fans personally, which I also thought was kind of corny.
Final thing I'll say on the Dolphins is they're so lucky they drafted Jalen Waddle and Tyreek Hill decided to sign with them, because I feel like those two guys got to be responsible for 60 to 70% of their wins this year. Call me crazy.
I would like to say I think my favorite celebration in the NFL is the Jalen Waddle. It's kind of awesome.
Yeah, it's a pretty boss celebration. Speaking of awesome head coaches, the New York Football Giants coming back down to earth a little bit these last 2 weeks. First, you lose at home to the Detroit Lions. We all thought that was a trap game. But then the Dallas game on Thanksgiving, I was stupid enough to put money on the Giants money line, and I had all my cousins basically tell me I'm an idiot for 40 minutes watching that game. They lose to the Cowboys 28-20 on Turkey Day. And now we've seen 2 straight losses from this Giants team that started very hot. Daniel Jones came out. He said the season starts now, whatever. We have the Commanders on Sunday. I will be at the Eagles-Giants game the following Sunday on December 11th. Nice. Talk to me a little bit about the Giants coming back down to earth. This is kind of something we all saw coming, right?
Yeah, you guys overperformed longer than I expected you to. Even, like, early on in the season, like, first 5 games, it was like, all right, look, they're riding high. Daboll's an amazing motivator. I like him a lot as a coach. But it just felt like you were riding this wave that had to end. And then it kept not ending, and people started, myself included, started talking themselves into, like, all right, look, this happened before. Maybe the Giants are good. And I still don't think you're not good, but I think you're coming back down to what this team was always going to be, which I think at this point, if you finish the season slightly above 500, it's not where you wanted to be, say, weeks 6 or 7. But if you told Spence in the summer that they'd be an above 500 team, you'd be pretty happy with that outcome. And I think that anything above 500 is gravy if you're a Giants fan.
I mean, you look at some of the games that we won, right? These are the games that we won that I don't think anybody thought the Giants were going to win. When we beat the Packers, they weren't a crap team yet. We beat them. We had to come back and beat Aaron Rodgers. We beat the Ravens and Lamar Jackson. And we beat the Titans opening week. Those are the 3 games where you thought, wow, maybe the Giants are in over their head. Now, the games
Tennessee
that we lost.
looks the best right now of those wins.
Tennessee looks great. Now, the games that we lost to the Lions. Probably should beat the Lions.
Dude, they just took Buffalo to the wire. I mean, that's not a bad loss.
They're not a bad football team. Dan Campbell's a great motivator. We saw it on Hard Knocks this summer. You lost to the Cowboys twice, and you lost to the Seahawks, who are relatively good. So those are 4 tough losses. Yeah. I mean, we're not winning the division
Divisional.
by any stretch. I know. We still got to play you guys and the Commanders twice because those are the only 2 division games we played were against Dallas. But I like this team. I think they have enough fight to go. What are there? 6 games left. I think they can go 4-2. I think they'll beat the Commanders at least once. They'll beat the Colts. They'll beat the Vikings. Maybe they'll beat the Commanders twice. Colts.
Wait, when do you play Minnesota?
Day before Christmas. I forgot the Vikings were good. I
take
take
that
that back.
Anything clinched yet. You're not beating Minnesota, buddy. I'm sorry.
I say we beat the Commanders twice. I say we beat you guys 1 out of 2 times, and we beat the Colts. Lose to you guys, lose to Minnesota. That's 4-2. What do you think? You're not sweeping us, Brandon. You're not.
We very well could, and I think they'll be
won't.
good games. I don't think you have the offense to keep up is the only thing. I think Saquon's going to have a big day against our run defense, which is all of a sudden horrible. I don't think you have the offense to keep up. I think if it becomes a shootout, you don't stand a chance.
Yeah,
that's not me being biased. I mean, we
can't let it become a shootout.
That's the big part. Yeah, I mean, if you can keep Jalen Hurts contained, you might have a shot then. But if it turns into a back and forth, I mean, we just put up 40. Granted, the Packers defense is horrible, but I just don't like you guys in a shootout. I like you guys in a close game. I mean, if you keep the Eagles under 20 and you're the Giants, I think you guys shot.
NDD. You know what that stands for? Never doubt Dable.
I like Brian Dable. I've been documented on this podcast saying I'm a huge fan of his. I think he's the best thing that could have happened to your franchise. I saw a list today. I want to run by you real quick while we're talking NFC East. And it was, the best coaches so far this season. And there's 3 NFC East coaches in there. I would argue there should only be 2. I don't think Ron Rivera should be up for Coach of the Year, personally.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I agree with you. I think that Brian Robinson should probably win Comeback Player of the Year, though. Is he a rookie?
No.
He's not. Okay, yeah. So give him, even if he is a rookie, I don't really care. Give him Comeback Player of the Year.
If you get shot, you're automatically qualified.
Many men.
Dude, he came out to that week 1. That's awesome.
I know, that was sick. No, I agree with you. I think.
Can we get 2 hours no traffic big hats?
I would love that. Oh yeah, that big hat he wore was insane.
Kind of sick. I like it a lot.
That was wild. All right, we covered the Giants. We covered the Eagles. Any other football-related topics before we move on?
I'm trying to think. Anything?
Should we talk about the legend Mike White? I mean, the Jets.
Yes, actually. So I actually in my fantasy league, I keep forgetting what I talked about with Ryan and what I didn't. But for those of you who didn't listen, because there wasn't many of you, I'm in line for my punishment for the fantasy league. If I don't win this week, I have to go to an open mic stand-up comedy set and do 10 minutes. So,
oh my God, I need you to film that.
Oh yeah, I'll film it. I might even live stream it for the podcast. We'll see what I can get film wise. But
by the way, I have some really great jokes if you need them that I wrote down, and I can send them to you. They've never been said live yet.
Okay. I might stay away from Jewish jokes for the time being.
I'm not gonna write you freaking Jewish jokes. I understand I'm Jewish, you're not. I get that. No, they're pretty absurd, dirty, filthy jokes that I would never say out loud. But if you got an open mic, I'll 100% send them to you.
I might call your brother too. Anyway, so my starting quarterback is Lamar Jackson. I have benched Lamar Jackson in favor of the White Knight, Mike White.
Smart decision.
I'm riding the hot hand, and I'm living and dying with Mike White. I think he's got Taylor Heineke vibes, except he's good at football.
Yeah, I mean, this is that classic situation of, a team loves the backup. He's never really had a shot. I'm sorry, the fans love the backup. He's never really had a shot. Finally, the coach, everyone gives up on the starter who's struggling, and you let the backup go, and he just freaking cooks. Mike White absolutely ate last week against the Bears.
Yeah, 3 touchdowns.
And now you got guys who have been, annoyed all year, and Elijah Moore coming out and scoring teeters. Garrett Wilson's been catching more balls. these guys just seem to rally around Mike White way more than they ever did around Zach Wilson.
Yeah. I mean, Zach Wilson is, kind of soft. He seems like he sucks.
And I don't even think he ever banged that mom.
Judging by the way he plays football, I don't think he has it in him.
Good.
I don't think he could close. I was watching Richard Sherman's podcast, and he had a really good point. Like, if you take away the fact that he was drafted number 2 overall, and you make Mike White the number 2 overall pick, just in your head, there's no reason he doesn't start. Like, Zach Wilson's biggest quality is that he was drafted number 2. It's nothing on the football field at all.
Yeah, he's been really bad. And, the normal process with those types of quarterbacks is you give them a year or two, you allow them some time to develop, and they get better. His issue is he has not gotten any better. And unlike Daniel Jones, where the Giants were basically in positions where even if Jones was a superstar those first few years, they didn't have the team to win. The Jets have a very solid team. They have a solid running game, although Bryce Hall is out for the year. Really solid receiving core, but their defense is the top 5 defense in the league if you look at on paper. So
if not more, yeah.
If not more. So you have this guy in Zach Wilson who has not improved, and you can't keep putting him out there if he's not going to give you the best chance to win football games.
Exactly. And he just doesn't offer a lot in the passing game. I mean, look, Elijah Moore was to the Jets what Kenny Golladay is to you guys. He was becoming a problem. He requested a trade. He wasn't getting the ball. First game under Mike White, he's a problem all over again. I mean, touchdown pass immediately. Who else? God, Elijah Moore had a big day. He got the whole receiving core involved. Garrett Wilson was another one, had a huge day. Like, you just see these guys who are just had to be so frustrated with Zach Wilson's inability. And because they were winning, it just got glossed over. So I think they're almost glad that the season took a bit of a turn briefly. I mean, they're still in contention. And I think it's Mike White's job to lose going forward. I think there's no reason that if he keeps playing at this level, that Zach Wilson sees the field this season.
How old is Mike White? Do we know?
I have no idea.
He's
good dude. He could do big well with bombs.
He was born in 95, so he's 2 years younger than me. So he's 27.
Okay.
He's pretty young.
Yeah,
he's got a few years left in his prime.
As a quarterback,
all right.
I mean, you got probably 7, 8 years. I mean, your prime's long.
Are we ready to talk some hoops, Philly Brandon?
Yes. Not particularly my Sixers, because we're currently getting spanked by the Cavaliers, but I'm happy to talk about basketball in general.
Let's start with your Sixers. I want to start with them because they are 12-9. They're second in the Atlantic Division. Obviously, James Harden is out with an injury. He'll be back
soon.
What? Back soon? Yeah, how soon? The 5th. Okay, so he's coming back soon. What about your boy Maxey?
He should be about 2 weeks behind him. We haven't got an official timeline, but from the time he was hurt, that would be his return date.
So 21 games into the season, about to be 22. Let's say you guys lose this game to the Cavs, you'd be 12-10. How do we feel compared to how we felt in the beginning of the season?
So I feel worse than I did in the offseason because I expected this team to come in red hot. But I feel better than I did probably a week into the season. Embiid was clearly just rusty from being hurt over the offseason. He's back to being himself. Tyrese Maxey, when he was healthy, showed he's a star this season. And skinny James Harden looked like Houston James Harden again. So, unfortunately, we didn't get to see that team for very long. But the role guys have gotten a lot of time. Shake Milton has become a really quality role player in the last few weeks. Georges Niang found the shooting stroke again, which is big. And Paul Reed should be building some confidence in the non-Joel Embiid games he's able to play him. So I feel pretty good about where the team's at. Once we reintegrate Harden, reintegrate Maxey, if the lineup is managed correctly, I think we're really good, like 8 or 9 deep. My concern, as it always is, and I've said it a million times, is not the lineup, it's Doc's use of it. I know in my heart that when Maxey and Harden come back, they're going to bury Shake at the bottom of the bench. I didn't even mention De'Anthony Melton, who's played really, really well as our 2 guard this season.
Nice pickup. Really, really solid player for the Grizzlies last season. Nice pickup for you guys this year.
He's been big. He's what we wanted Josh Richardson to be a few years ago. If you remember that deal, he's actually what we envisioned. My concern is that we're going to bury these bench guys again. And the reason we always seem like we don't have any depth isn't because we're lacking talent on the bench. We lack experience. These guys don't get time. Paul Reed gets buried. Shake Milton gets used for 3 or 4 minutes at a time. Like, you can't expect these guys to come in ice cold in 3 minutes, get hot, and make a difference. You got to let them have a little bit of leash, let them get some run. But I feel great about the way the team's constructed. I'm uneasy about Doc Rivers, which I could say for the last 3 seasons.
Is PJ Tucker the worst scorer in the league right now?
I really don't think so. No, I don't worry about PJ Tucker at all. Has he scored in 7 games? No. I don't need to see.
That's hard to do, by the way.
I know it's there. It is. As long as he keeps playing, really good defense. The Sixers are first in points per game in defense right now and 3rd in defensive efficiency. So that's what we brought him here to do. Ben Simmons left. We needed somebody to be a stopper on defense who wasn't named Matisse Thybulle because he's somehow more useless on offense than PJ Tucker. So he's done his job. Me and PJ are cool.
Damn. All right. And you still have Toby, who I love. I think Toby's
keep forgetting
that.
I gotta
forget Tobias Harris.
Let me give Toby the next minute because everybody overlooks Toby. I did a whole thing last podcast about it. He has been nothing but consistent for as long as we've had him. Yes, we gave him a max contract. That's what it took to keep him. And he has done nothing to his fault. When Embiid's out, he picks the slack up. He's played great on defense. We've asked him to guard Giannis, to guard. God, what game was I at? He had a really tough assignment. We always give him a tough assignment on defense. He's just steady. When everything in the team is chaotic, you can count on Tobias to be steady, for better or for worse. He won't give you 30. He'll always give you 18 to 20, and there's something to be said for that.
There you go. Showing Tobias Harris some love. All right, let's get into a real NBA team.
You guys have gotten a little bit hot lately, right?
You know who I'm talking about. I'm talking about the Brooklyn Nets. First of all, they're playing right now. It's like a 5-point game in the 3rd quarter against the Wizards. Whatever. They win this game. Cool. If not, it is what it is. Finally 500. They were able to beat an undermanned Magic team at home the other night. Kevin Durant, I think he had, 45 points. He shot 19 to 24 from the field. It was insane. Just did not miss. The fact that you needed a performance like that to beat an undermanned Magic team is a little bit, it's a little bit concerning. I'm not going to lie to you. This team has some holes, and they're pretty glaring. For starters, they don't have a front court. Their front court is Nick Claxton, and then Kevin Durant's essentially the second biggest guy, and you don't need him as your power forward. You need, somebody else. You have Markieff Morris, who's a stretch 5 on the bench, and Day'Ron Sharpe, the second-year player who's just not good enough to be in the rotation for a playoff team yet. So you need a big guy.
I lost track. What happened to Andre Drummond in the offseason?
Signed with Chicago.
Big loss. Okay.
Yeah, no, that was huge. He was great for us. Now we have this weird roster where we have 1 million shooters. We have I don't know. We have Simmons as our point guard, I guess, but he's hurt right now, and that's an issue. He's been dealing with some knee soreness, out a few games. He was starting to play some really good basketball. Can you please speak on that for a second?
Who?
Ben Simmons.
Who?
Okay, yeah, we're not doing that.
I'll give you that. He has played better. You're starting to get the Ben Simmons. You're starting to get Philadelphia regular season Ben Simmons, which isn't bad. He's effective. It's the Kool-Aid that we drank for 3 seasons. You're seeing that now.
But if you can get him as your 3rd best player, and actually he's 2nd because I think he's better than Kyrie, and you have a Kevin Durant and a Kyrie Irving, I don't know, man. I don't see Ben Simmons being the guy who blows it for you. Let's just say that.
It depends on what you ask him to do. But I agree. If in a limited role he has to play in Brooklyn, he's less likely to blow it.
So, like I said, you have 1 million shooters on this team. Joe Harris, Seth Curry, Patty Mills. Cam Thomas is a guy who can shoot 2s and not 3s. Royce O'Neal is another shooter. Seth
Curry just went off, didn't he, a couple games ago?
He had 29 against the Blazers.
But it's nice when you have the option to get that once in a while.
No, he's great. I mean, the problem is, though, him, Joe Harris, and Royce O'Neal all can't be on at the same time, and they all relatively do very similar things on offense.
I mean, I don't follow the team as closely as you do. For me, from an outside perspective, it seems like Seth should get the lion's share of those chances. No?
He doesn't, because he's coming back from injury, and he played back-to-back games for the first time all season the other day. Joe Harris also coming back from injury. He's been really rusty. My point being, you have too many of the same player if you're Sean Marks.
Yeah.
And you eventually need to go, like when you lost Blake Griffin and Bruce Brown last year and they signed, with Denver and Boston, you lost two energy guys. Now, what I love about the 76ers, you guys are built off
all energy guys.
It's all you freaking have. PJ Tucker, Matisse Thybulle, Paul Reed, Gorgeous Niang, Daniel House. The list goes on and on. It's just a bunch of guys who play hard. The Nets don't really have that. The Nets have their starting center plays the hardest on the team, Nick Claxton. Outside of him, you don't really have that. Royce O'Neal's the second, but you need energy guys. So I've said this from the jump. Marks needs to get some big men for the front court. He needs to get an energy guy or two, and maybe a backup point guard. But Nets are 11-11. Nice to see it. Nice to see them not have a losing record. Kevin Durant is playing at an MVP level right now. It's been really nice to watch. Kyrie's come back. He's averaging 21 a game. I'm not out of being happy with this team. I'm a 6.5 out of 10.
It seems like every season, and there's some teams that are like this. The Nets, for the life of them, can't seem to put a big man together. I'm a big Andre Drummond fan. You had one for about half a season, but for the majority of the time that we've been doing this Nets thing, it's been who's at center, who's going to play in the front court, who do we have in the front. I mean, why is that such a difficult position for Marks to fill?
I don't know. And it's funny because a few years ago, one of Marks' best draft picks was Jared Allen. Mm-hmm. And you have Jared Allen, and he's blossoming into a nice role. And you have DeAndre Jordan. That was, the year you got KD and Kyrie. And you say, we're going to start DeAndre Jordan over Jared Allen, which now, I think we can all recognize is ridiculous. So you trade Jared Allen away, bye-bye. I think the next season, you then have a 4-person front court in Blake Griffin, Andre Drummond, Nick Claxton, and LaMarcus Aldridge. You have 4 guys who can essentially play the 5. This season, you have one. One of those 4 guys remains, and it's Nick Claxton, who's a very good player, but he can't be the only guy who's getting rebounds and banging with big men in the paint. And that's what's frustrating. The Nets play these teams. We played, I forget who it was, but without Ben Simmons, this team has a serious problem defending the paint. And that bothers me. And come playoff basketball, you need defensive-minded big men to help protect the paint. And the Nets just don't have that right now.
What's interesting about last year, and we'll wrap on this. I'm really interested in it. You said you have 4 big men. Drummond came over midway through the season, but in all reality, Blake Griffin for long stretches of the season was forced to play. He didn't add a ton of value. LaMarcus Aldridge even more so, and then DeAndre Jordan that was a mess was the minute he got there. So Nick Claxton, Andre Drummond was probably your best backcourt since you and I have been doing this. Your best front court. Yeah. This year, what's interesting is you guys could have gotten a huge "I told you so" on the Sixers, because we let Charles Bassey walk away with no strings attached. See you later. And he's been, I would say, one of the better backup centers in basketball early in the season for San Antonio.
Where is he? Oh, for San Antonio. Okay.
He's a rebound machine.
No, go on.
I forget the stat, but earlier on this season, he set a new record for the most amount of points and rebounds for a player who played less than 20 minutes. He's efficient. He's a rebound machine. He's a hustle guy. I'm mad that we lost him. I'm glad you didn't get him, but looking at your problems now, it would have been a surefire fix.
What's sort of annoying is, okay, we didn't get Charles Bassey. Still could have got Dwight Howard playing in Taiwan right now. We still could have got DeMarcus Cousins. DeMarcus Cousins is not on the NBA roster right now. Still can. But Sean Marks does not want to do that. I don't understand for the life of me why we don't want to make this team better. You have 5 to 6 guards who all do very similar things. Cam Thomas is in that mix. Patty Mills is in that mix. Seth Curry, Joe Harris, Royce O'Neal, Edmund Sumner. All these guys have the same type of value. Maybe some guys shoot the ball better. Maybe some guys move a little better. Doesn't matter. None of these guys are real wings. Joe Harris and Royce O'Neal are the closest thing to wings, but they're undersized. They're undersized 3 guards. So, I mean, I would love a Kyle Kuzma type player. I would love a Tobias Harris, a 6'8", 6'9" guy who can play alongside KD. That would be my dream. And guess what? TJ Warren's coming back soon. He makes his debut on Friday. So he's someone who can really provide that lift, on the wings. But just get rid of one of these guards, get a big man, and balance out this roster. You have to do something, Sean.
Who's the sacrificial guard?
I would trade Joe Harris and Cam Thomas. Those are the 2 guys I'd get rid of. I would keep Curry. I would keep O'Neal. I don't think Mills has any value.
Yeah, I kind of agree. But all right, solve the world's problems in 31 minutes.
We talked Giants. We talked Sixers. We talked Nets. We talked Jets. Did I leave out any teams? Eagles.
I mean, we did we did the Eagles offensive line. I was there Sunday, took it to Green Bay pretty good. What concerns me the most about them is the run defense. Special teams is horrible too, but who wants to talk about special teams? It's no fun. Run defense is brutal. Packers,
Mike
not
Westhoff?
a good team.
I don't talk special teams.
Gave up 33 points to, the Packers led by Aaron Rodgers, a little bit of Jordan Love. Like, that can't happen. But
you won the game.
Yeah, we did. But 33 points is way too much to Green Bay.
Just take the win, dude.
Nah, dude, I'm telling you, that you can't expect this team to score 40 over and over and over again. And to give up 33 to a subpar team is concerning. We had 536 yards of offense. We won by a touchdown.
When you score a lot, the other team's going to get a lot of opportunities. It's just how football is.
It's a little bit of that. We had some pretty horrible field position. Shout out to special teams. But like I said, win's a win. I'm happy. I'm worried about Tennessee. I think Derrick Henry is going to be a problem unless we can get one really good start out of the combination of Sue and Linval Joseph, because we should get Jordan Davis back the following week, if not the week after.
All right. There you have it. Philly Brandon's breakdown of the Eagles. I do want to end the podcast by stating that I beat Nicky, my little brother, 1-on-1 the other day. Beat him 2 out of 2 times. So a message to all you older siblings who have, younger siblings, beat them 1-on-1 and you will feel a lot better about yourselves.
I'm just glad you stopped picking on 14-year-olds at the public courts.
No, I'm still doing that.
There's got to be some older dudes, man.
These kids got to learn somehow, Brandon.
You're doing the Lord's work. But all right, another great episode. 2 hours, no traffic, in the books. I'm Philly Brandon. He's Spen Harris. We're brought to you by Sideline Sports.
Nobody move. Nobody get hurt.